Good morning. Good morning. Welcome, everybody, to Teach Better Today, where we go live every single morning, Monday through Friday, on all of our social media platforms at 7 a.m. Eastern. My name is Katie Miglin, and I'm with Joshua Stamper. And we're excited that you've decided to join us today. If you could drop your name and what you do in the world of education or why you decided to join us today, put that in the comments. We are so glad you're here. We'll be back in just a few seconds. Good morning. My name is Katie Miglin. This is Josh Stamper. We are so glad you decided to start your day with us on Teach Better Today, where we go live at 7 a.m. Eastern on all of our social media platforms. If you're joining us on the podcast, welcome. We're so glad you decided to listen to us today. Our hope is that you walk away with some insight, maybe a couple laughs, or really just, I don't know, if nothing else, something that killed time for however long.
The bar is getting slowly lower and lower.
It's fine. Okay, Josh, I know I came up with a topic today, but I have a confession. So I told Josh I wanted to talk about to-do lists, and that's because
Shocker.
I know my to-do list is never ending. That's like the world of life, right? But when I walked into my office this morning, it's starting to get colder in Illinois, as it is in many parts of the country,
Yep.
which means my ceiling fan is not on 24/7 in my office. And when your ceiling fan stops moving, there's things you notice like dust. And I have to dust my ceiling fan that's literally right above me, and it's really bothering me. And so
Hey, Katie.
Yeah.
Your type A is showing right now.
Okay, please tell me that there are chores in your life that like chores in your adulthood that you're like, that is like my least favorite chore. And I think cleaning the ceiling fan might be on my top 5.
All of them?
Okay, is there like one that you literally like will avoid as long as possible?
Bathrooms. I dislike cleaning bathrooms.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
No. Okay, drop in the comments if you are
Folding
listening.
laundry. That's not fun.
Yes.
With 6 kids.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, your head almost exploded with that.
I don't. Okay, I honestly like shout out to Matt Miglin, who he does all the laundry in our house because I hate it so much that
Shout out to Matt.
yeah, I complain about it so much and I avoid it. Like I'll move the laundry basket 100 different times and I'll restart that dryer at least 8 times just so I don't have to fold it. So thank you,
Wow.
Matt Miglin.
That's a lot of effort to avoid.
Which every time I fold the laundry, I'm like, this took me 8 minutes. Why is this so horrible?
Sure.
But yeah. Yeah, so
But
I'd
don't
love
you
to
think
hear.
that's how it is for a lot of things, like with chores?
Yes.
Like once you do it, if it's dishes or vacuuming or, take your pick.
Do you have a chore
Really,
that's your favorite that you would like you'll do first before anything else?
okay, I don't have like a type A personality for folks that don't know me very well. I'm pretty laissez-faire about a lot of things.
But
But
you also have a house of 6 kids, so like you can't avoid some of this.
it's constant.
Right.
But my kitchen counter, so we have like a very large like kind of bar area that we use for a lot. Like we have
Yeah.
bar stools there, the kids eat dinner, especially with Layla climbing all over stuff and trying to eat other people's food. That's my 1-year-old, for those who don't know. So a lot of us eat at the bar because she can't access that, right? So I have to have that clean. I don't know why it's like my pet peeve, but I clean that space a good 5 to 10 times a day. Like I have to have it clear. I don't
Is
know
there
why.
anything else on it? Like, do you have to like move things or is it like
No, there's
okay.
like on the side, like we have a basket for fruit,
Yeah.
against the wall. but like there's really not anything that needs to be there. And so I don't know why it's my life mission, but it's like the one thing in our house that I have to have like clean outside of my office. Like my office is and my desk is very clean. But yeah, beyond that, nothing really bothers me.
Josh, I know this is going to shock you, but we're very different people.
What? Are you kidding me?
I know. Okay, and people all the time they're like my sister gives me a hard time all the time. She's like, "What happens if that pillow stays on the floor?" Well, obviously nothing. But here's full transparency. This is what I've learned about myself. My husband has learned this about me. My stress level is way lower when things are tidy. Not necessarily clean. I mean, obviously I'll clean them at a certain point, but if things are picked up, I can handle so much more.
Your
So
anxiety level goes down.
yeah, so it's like, sure, I can combat it and like let the mess happen, but then you're all gonna deal with me, and I can try to combat my emotions as much as possible, but like when I was in the classroom and it was like, the weeks that are really long, parent teacher conference week, whatever those like weeks are throughout the school year, I knew that no matter how hard I worked at maintaining a level emotion,
Yep.
that if I came home and the house was a mess, that was like immediately going to set me off. And for right or wrong, I know it's like a problem, but like, so I've just accepted. It's like,
Right.
I'm going to spend 30 seconds putting something away because it'll help me in the long run. And so that's my issue.
I feel like I live with someone that's very similar to you in my wife. So most of the time I clean not for my own anxiety level, but for hers.
Yes.
So I get you, Matt Miglin, if you're out there listening. I feel you, brother. I'm with you 100%.
Yes. He has learned. He has learned the hard way, unfortunately. Okay, but that goes back to my question. Is there a chore that you will pick to do first over anything else?
Yeah.
Besides cleaning the counter?
I don't mind vacuuming. I don't mind taking out the garbage. I mean,
So there's
there's
things
a lot
that
of
like
things.
don't
Yard work. I don't mind yard work, like mowing the lawn and doing that kind of stuff. I
Okay,
actually kind of like it because it's quiet.
that's what I was just gonna ask. Does Leslie also mow the lawn?
No.
Okay, so this is like a conversation in our house as to who's going to go out and mow the lawn because it's like 45 minutes of uninterrupted time.
So you mow the lawn?
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Interesting.
And yeah. Oh, I'm down for good yard work because I'm out of the house and I don't have to deal with anyone else because I can't hear you
Just
over
throw
the
on my
lawn.
I just throw on my my earbuds and
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah, our neighbors all think it's hilarious because like we tag team all the time. Like we'll go back and forth. And finally I was like, yeah, it's just because whoever wins the battle of who gets out of the house.
Who can run out to the lawnmower fastest?
Like okay, so obviously you guys know I'm like super pregnant now, but there was a really hot day in August and I was just tapped out. I knew my like I was like, I'm having irrational, I'm like being irrational about dumb things. And I just knew I needed to like sweat it out. But obviously I can't like go for a run. So I was like, I'm gonna go mow the lawn. That's what will get me. It was like 110 degrees, like heat index. And so I like got my shoes on and I got ready. And Matt looked at me. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm gonna go out and mow the lawn, like weed and stuff." He's like, "You are like 7 months pregnant and it is over 100 degrees. No, you're not." And like Matt doesn't say like a hard no on many things, but he like stood in front of the door and I was like, "I'm calling my mom." He's like, "Okay." Of course, my mom told me no. Then like, every person I asked, they're like, "Absolutely not. Don't be dumb." But I was like, "Come on, I just wanted to sweat."
You're gonna cook your baby.
I mean, in hindsight, I did it the next day. It was like a little cooler, but it was like really hot. And I was like, okay, that probably would have been really stupid to do because it was really, really hot. But like sometimes you just need to like zone out. And
I get that, but 110, come on.
I know it was kind of stupid.
And
But again, I was
you're kind of
irrational.
pregnant.
It's true.
There's a human inside you.
This is true. This is true. You're all good points. All right. Okay. I really want to know though, because whether you're type A or not, to-do lists are a thing right now. This time of year, I feel like teachers are teachers, admin, anyone in the education world, like the to-do list is real long. So let's dive in to what that looks like. Are you ready?
I guess to-do lists are tough. Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to Teach Better today. My name is Katie Miglin. I'm with Joshua Stamper, and we have been talking about to-do lists and chores and just adulting, honestly, the things that like not so great of being an adult, but we've had a kind of an interesting conversation to talking through like personality types and cleaning and housework and even yard work and things like that. But it's inevitable. It is October. No matter when you started your school year, your to-do list has got to be super long. I feel like that's all I see on social media is teachers just feel like they're barely holding their head above water at best. And it's a part of life, right? It's kind of that time of year. I know we feel it on our team. Our team is traveling a lot, lots of big projects happening. So it just seems to be like the fall brings in like the summer is over, the vacations are over, and now people are in the thick of whatever jobs they have. And so I just kind of want to talk through that because it's such an overwhelming feeling. I honestly, this is like one of the first falls I feel like I've really enjoyed because typically in the classroom, fall for like the school district I was in, it was parent teacher conferences, it was quarter ending grades, it was the Halloween parties or fall parties or all the things. Like it just seemed like there were so many things that took time away from task completion. And so if you are someone that is struggling, we are here to support you, hopefully give you a couple tips and tricks on how you can navigate this. I know Ray and I weeks ago had a conversation about like how do you organize your to-do list? But Josh, I would love today to talk more about like your headspace. How do you get in the right headspace to navigate being that overwhelmed feeling where you're like, I am so overwhelmed, I can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So can you please tell me you can relate? This is not just
Oh, 100%, yeah. And I know we had talked about like personal life, and I was talking about like being laissez-faire, like at home. But as an administrator, I had a very different look on things, and I definitely had a to-do list, and I definitely had like my office was clean at all times. Like it drove me crazy. I guess maybe that's where the kitchen counter comes from. It's like my desk at work. But yeah, I was just kind of like having flashbacks of this time of year because when school starts, it's fun. You're excited to see everybody. There's not like a ton as far as like for an administrator, student discipline and stuff. There's things that pop up here and there, but like right now, like it's getting for real, and you're in the thick of it. Right now too, in school, like at least in Texas, like a lot of ARDs are going on. There's a lot of meetings. The Red Ribbon Week, holidays, like you said, like there's just like a lot that starts to happen in the fall where it's just like bang, bang, bang. And I always tell like new administrators on my podcast, and then here is like to-do lists are great, but you have to have the mindset of walking in that you may not touch that to-do list at all, and you have to be okay with it. So for myself, I always felt way more productive in the mornings. And so for kind of like a hack for myself personally, and I don't think this is for everyone, but I would come in a good at least 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes early before anyone else was in the building, because I knew, one, I wasn't going to get interrupted, and two, my principal back in the day when I was a teacher, becoming an administrator, always talked about eating your frog. And I never understood what he's saying about that. And he would say it constantly to other people within the admin staff. I was like, what in the world? And I guess it came from a book, but what it meant was like just getting the icky bad stuff out of the way as early as possible. So if that was like having to call a parent that you really didn't want to, or having a task on your to-do list that you're just kind of dragging your feet, maybe it's like documenting student behavior or whatnot, to get that done right away, do the bad thing, and get it out of the way so you don't have to worry about it for the rest of your day. And it was like eating your frog,
Yeah.
because no one wants to eat a raw frog, right? So
No.
the imagery is pretty disgusting. However, the point of it being was something that I could connect with. And so as far as like anxiety level, or like something that you just felt like was on top of your shoulders all day,
Mhm.
it
That
just,
weight.
yeah, the weight of it, it was just so much better. Just kind of like rip that band-aid off, get it done, knock it out, feel good. And sometimes it's even just like small wins. Like you're just putting in some small, easy tasks at the beginning of your to-do list, knock them out quickly. You're feeling good, like you have some momentum to get through the rest of the stuff that you really don't want to do on your to-do list. So, I'm speaking specifically as admin, since that's been my life for like the last decade. But Katie, I'm just curious, as far as you as a teacher, I know there was probably at this time of year plenty to do on your to-do list. So did you have any like things that were kind of hacks or things that you found to be successful in knocking those out?
Honestly, kind of the same. I would try to come up with a couple quick tasks that helped me feel like I was gaining momentum. But I did someone a long time ago said, always start with your longest task, which I didn't necessarily agree with, because depending on how much time you have, that could feel very daunting. But I did always try to like kind of decide what's a simple task that will take me less than 5 minutes, so that I feel like I accomplished something. And then also like, what's that looming task, that thing that's gonna take forever, or something I'm not looking forward to, and try to knock that out, so that at least like something that felt like it was going to be so much time would be off my plate. But yeah, I agree. You have to be in the right headspace. And there were days I loved getting to work early. Like I was the same, get there early, knock out things. In our district, our kids started an hour before I did. So I could like get them to school and then go and have plenty of time in my own classroom. But there were plenty of days that I was like, I'm in no headspace to be productive right now. And so those were the days that were hard, right? Because it's like you're like, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be productive. I don't even want to look at this list. And so it is like those are the days I felt like I would try to like, grab a coffee on the way to work, or maybe I would like find a playlist that I could jam out to in my classroom, or do the things that brought me joy. I know Ray has shared like she would do the creative tasks on those days, like those, things that like tapped into something that she really enjoyed. But I would say like that is a hard thing right now to navigate if you are in the classroom, out of the classroom, wherever you're at. Like first check your headspace and say like, where am I at mentally, and what are things that I can realistically accomplish, because we know that there are tasks that might require a lot more mental stamina, and those aren't the things you want to take on the days that you're struggling. Find the things that bring you joy, whether you highlight them in your to-do list, or whether you drive smiley faces, whatever it is. But kind of decide that, every time you sit down to accomplish something, like, where's my headspace at first, and then decide what your task is you're going to complete. And I am giving everyone permission, because I needed to hear this a lot. But if you come home at night and you're like, my headspace is in not a good place, it's okay to take some time off and detach yourself from school. Put on the Crime Junkie podcast, watch, whatever documentary you want, like just have a moment to like do whatever. Or maybe it's just be an intentional with your family, go out to dinner, make a, fun dessert or something. But like take a time away and just constantly like check in with yourself. Like, okay, am I in a better headspace to knock out one of these really small tasks? Sometimes I would just like grab my laptop and I'm like, I'm gonna only work for 20 minutes. And I would literally like sit down and set a timer. And I'm like, I'm gonna work for 20 minutes to get one thing off my plate before I go to bed, so I can sleep better tonight. But I think it like exactly what you said, it all goes back into really thinking about your thoughts and where you're at, because that getting to work early works for some people, but not everybody. Working before bedtime, a lot of people don't like that. And actually, I'm assuming I'll get some like mean comments, but that's what worked for me in my headspace. So like find what works for you and embrace it. And if you need something done for us, like by us, let us know. We're happy to help you. And we can, even if nothing else, just like give you a fun podcast to listen to, or a fun playlist to jam out to in your classroom before you get your day started. We're happy to help. But no, that's such a good like doing something quick, but also like doing something maybe you're not looking forward to. Those are such good tips, Josh.
Yeah, I think prioritizing too, I always had a superintendent that would say this constantly of you got to, shoot the closest alligator to the boat. And the idea is like, especially, it doesn't matter if you're a teacher, a team lead, coach, administrator, whatnot. Like there are certain tasks that you absolutely have to get done on that day. And some things are 3, 4, maybe months away that you don't need to touch,
Yep.
and so, just looking at your list, prioritizing what is the absolute thing that I have to get done today, focusing on that instead of looking at the long, potentially scroll of to-do list that you have, and getting overwhelmed by that, maybe just kind of chunking it based on the day and when it's due, and knowing like kind of the time limit that you have with that. And so for myself, I know if I looked at it as the grand scheme of things, like on my board of what I had to get done, it was just overwhelming, and I'd start getting anxious and feel like I was just a horrible educator, administrator. But if I could just like look at a couple things that I knew I had to get done on that day, one, I felt successful, but then also I didn't feel the same anxiety over the tasks that could potentially be there if I saw the entire board.
Yeah, so I think that's a great tip we can leave you with today. Look at your super long to-do list. Maybe it's not that long. Good for you. But if it's super long, look at it. And on a Post-it note, which is much smaller, write 2 to 3 things that you have to get done today or tomorrow, and put that on your desk wherever you're at, whether you're a coach, teacher, admin, whoever. But take one Post-it and kind of narrow down your to-do list on things that you plan on accomplishing today, so that you can kind of set the anxiety aside, but be focused and still be productive. I know I just literally did it this morning for myself. So hopefully that works for you. But we hope that you continue to kind of just navigate and be mindful of where you're at in your headspace, because we know that there are quality educators all over that are feeling overwhelmed this time of year. We are here. We support you. We want to, be there for you. So please let us know if there's anything we can do. Please reach out. But Josh, I love this topic. This was good. And it was really good for me to get focused, especially now that I have to go clean the ceiling fan.
Meet with Katie Miglin. Check.
Done.
I got something off my to-do list.
Yay! It took you a while to find that piece of paper for the record.
I know.
It's because your desk is
I actually cleaned. Yeah, I was going to say, I cleaned it and then I can't find anything I put. Yes.
That's the story of my life too. It's like I actually put something away and I don't remember what that looks like.
When you try to hide it from the kids too, and then it's too good of a hiding spot, and you'll never find it again.
Like gifts. Does anyone else do that? Where they hide gifts?
Anyway. How about chocolate? That's when you need it and you can't find it.
But then when you find it, it's so glorious.
If you find it, not too long after.
Right.
A year later, you're like, oh, I don't want to eat that anymore.
I would still eat it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We need to end this We need to end the show as soon as possible.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us on Teach Better today. We hope that you have a wonderful day, whether you find your old chocolate or just accomplish something on your to-do list. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, Teach Better community. Thank you so much for joining the Teach Better Today morning show every single weekday at 7 a.m. Eastern. We have so many resources for you outside of this live stream at teachbetter.com, including blogs, podcasts, and professional development that will bring our team to your school. Wherever you are listening from this morning, please make sure you are sharing and celebrating the incredible educators in this world. And hey, if you are listening over on a podcast to Teach Better Talk, we would love a 5-star review. The comments are always so entertaining. We'll see you tomorrow.